Council that the mayor's office walked the floor very heavily the day before the Juan Paseo vote. And they lobbied very, very hard for Juan Paseo. That was straight out of the strong mayor form of government. We have an election in a couple of years, and I'm not advocating anything other than you make your position known and you get an answer before we go to that next election. Because if you don't, and that election happens before you get an answer to this, I will bet you, and I'll bet each of you your house that you will lose. Okay, so that's important to know. Politics, unfortunately, one of the things I saw down there is most council members put their next seat ahead of your neighborhoods, and that was disappointing for me. This is not about the need for more housing because San Diego is a huge place, and the argument I made when I was down there was this is 1 or 2 miles in an enormous city. And there are neighborhoods really, really wanting more infrastructure, more density. But what this is big money, Jerome's, other places that want to maximize their properties, and they make more money developing this area than they do other places east. We all know that the value of San Diego real estate starts at the beach and moves east, okay? And so the closer they get there, and by stealing your view and reselling it, it's more valuable than it is down by the border or one of the other places that have areas that they can be. And so you will always have to be vigilant because they will always be after this. As I told you, they developed every field I played in Orange County. And so you'll have to stay diligent, you'll have to be on it. James will have to, this is not gonna be a one-time fight, it'll be forever. But I think at some point you're gonna have to get to the Coastal Commission and get that extended. I think you need to get that protection extended, and I think that might be a final answer for you. Dave Potter and Don Fry were invaluable while I was in council, so they're not here, but I would ask that you pass on my thank you. Because one of the things that they discovered that I was able to pass on was, why are Sandag's numbers different? Why are Sandag's numbers that project a certain amount of population we need only a couple thousand units, but your numbers are 5,000 units? And why are we losing jobs when we're supposed to have city of villages, which gets people working close to where they're at, lowers commutes and everything else? Why are we taking industrial jobs out of Linda Vista when Sandag's plan doesn't call for that? So they've done that research, and it's important research. Again, I don't want to take too much time, but I want to implore on you, no matter who you vote for, what that election is, once that election's over, you lost your power. And nothing in the city of San Diego happens without leverage. So you have leverage when there's an election, and you will lose it when that comes forward. So I don't know what will happen or who will run in the mayor's race, but if you can get to Kevin and you can articulate it and your support, then maybe he'll do the right thing, and that would be nice. Because at the end of the day, this is only a couple miles. The city's housing crisis does not depend on your neighborhoods. I have a lot of lifeguards that I've worked with for years here, and it's a great place. If I didn't live in Point Loma, I would live right here, I can tell you right now.
Yes.
Do you know the numbers for the projected need for housing? Because I've heard some huge numbers, like they need 200,000 units.
Well, I'm gonna steer this back in my corner here. So thank you, Ed. Yeah. Thank you very much. One of the things that I've been telling all of the committee members from the beginning is that at this stage of the game, we are not relying on our council members. We're relying on ourselves first. I agree with Ed that politics is politics, but I'm also willing to do a little bit of experimenting here. And part of that is, what can a group of folks do if they put their backs to the grinding well? For example, if Bob Freund and I and other community leaders, by the way, was that community leader from, it was Hillcrest? Did you make it here? Raise your hand. You didn't. If we band together throughout the 52 community plan areas, it's going to be a bigger voice. And then it becomes power. So who knows what's going to happen in the future. I'm willing to get in there fight it out. And I think you folks are too, so let's see what happens. Yes?
Maybe everyone knows this, but I was amazed when I found out that people like us got together in the 1970s and made the 30-foot overlay happen. And we don't, I know one person, because she happened to live down the street from me, who was involved in that. But otherwise, I mean, we don't know who they are, and in 30 years, no one's going to know who we are, but the neighborhood will still be a wonderful place. Even if there are more people here, it'll be done well, and that can happen, and that's what we're going for.
Yeah. Yes, look at all the wonderful victories that residents have had all over this county. And that was no disrespect to the council members, believe me. We're going to have to sit down and work with these folks. But I'll be damned if I put my hard work and time and energy hoping someone on a seat will vote correctly. I'm going to get out there and do what I can do right now. I live here. I care. And I think most of you feel the same way. We need to do, oh yes sir.
Would you say that there are quite a few good things that are in the plan?
Yes.
Like what they want to do with the overpass over Claremont Drive, put a bike trail and walking trail so you can connect Mission Bay?
Yes. What he was asking about are some of the good things in the plan. There are some fantastic things in the plan. What is, and in particular in the Marina Boulevard study. The problem is, when they draft all of the architectural drawings in the study, they do it based upon what are called overarching guidelines for development. That's where maximum space is given. It looks sexy. There are little cafes and awnings and plenty of walking space. And if you looked at the study, you'd go, yes, that's what I want. I want that. And that's the big carrot, because those are overarching guidelines. So I emailed our community planner about the overarching guidelines. I said, Michael, those are great. I like those. How do we get those into the municipal code? How do we codify those? And if their overarching design guidelines are so great, why haven't you already put it into the municipal code? What we're talking about with our CIAs, we want it put a green area ratio, we want parks, we want solar, we want good, listen, we're saying build it right or don't build it at all in our neighborhood. But the only way we're going to get that is by putting it into the municipal building code. It's just like One Paseo. Oh, they've got some really nice stuff in there, and then if you look real closely at their plans, and they're in their books, the signature books that we have, you'll see recommended, should be, we'd like it this way. But when you are a big money developer and you are looking for maximum profit, those overarching guidelines are going to get kicked down the road, folks. They're not going to hold to it. We, the people, are supposed to be monitoring the implementation of the plan. I think we want to go to now some housekeeping, unless we got some questions. Yes? Did you have a question, sir?
Everybody knows this program, money talks, the rest walks. The developer's contribution is a tremendous amount of money, and they don't live here. They live in La Jolla, Rancho Santa Fe. We don't contribute enough to have the politician be elected. And they don't care about us, to be honest. I've lived a long time, and I've seen this happen over and over and over. We can have all the community meetings, talk about it, and whatever. Nothing is going to happen until we elected our own people. And how are they going to be elected? By pouring money into their campaign. I'm sorry, it's a very hard reality, but this is what it is.
And if I felt that way, if I felt that that was the only answer, I mean, really, is it? I'm asking you.
We're not going to pass the hat around.
Okay. So, I'm not going to go there. No.
It's a piece of the equation.
That is absolutely been, he's absolutely correct. That's status quo. I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about us getting together ourselves first, really doing some work here, and then working with the other 52 plan areas. And let me tell you folks, there's a lot of power when that big wave starts to grow. Look at how Zap turned on a dime over that election. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to your Fran at this point. We're doing housekeeping now. Bear with us, we've got to do some housekeeping. And then we hope to have some time for Tom to read some of your responses. That's actually the funny portion of the show. Thank you.
Okay, this is keeping the Raise the Balloon House in order. First of all, be registered on Raise the Balloon. If there are new people here, please go to raisetheballoon.com and register there. Give all the information you can. Some of you have only given your name and phone number and your email, name and address, email, name and email. And sometimes we need to go find you or call you, and we can't. Your information isn't going to go anyplace else. We have it. If we want to contact you, we'll contact you. We won't give your information to anyone else. So please be sure you're registered. If you have not received an e-newsletter from RTV, then that maybe went into your junk or spam folder. And that's a clue that you're not registered. So please re-register if you have not received a Raise the Balloon e-newsletter. If you go to re-register and it says you're registered, you're good. Don't worry about it. But we really want you to register so we can get all information to you. So that's about registration. RTB is Raise the Balloon. We use that little acronym a lot. And UTP is Understand the Plan. RTB is where events and updates occur all the time. If you take time to take a walk or feed your dog or play with your kids, maybe in your schedule you could put each week, check Raise the Balloon website. Take 2 minutes and check the Raise the Balloon website for any updates and any events. If it's an alert, if it's a call to action, if it's something important, if it's immediate, you will get an email. Otherwise, it'll be an update on the website. Understand the Plan is where you go for information. Understandtheplan.info. It has everything there. It has all of this there, the regional plan, the general plan, and it's not as overwhelming as you think it is when you first open it. So that's another thing you could schedule in. 5 minutes, 10 minutes a week, and take a little bite, like a buffet. Go and just take a little bit, a little taste of each thing, and it'll bring you up to speed so that when we go to the PlaceWorks community input area and we have to sound like we know what we're talking about, we will sound that way because we will know what we're talking about, and they'll be blown off their chairs with, oh my God, these people know what they're talking about. And they're asking questions that we really don't want to answer right now. And we'll be asking questions that they have to record. They have to record all of our input. So we want to be ready for that. And you want to be ready for that. Fundraising. Raise the Balloon is strictly volunteer-based. We choose not to accept blank checks from interested parties. Rather, we look to our community to invest in themselves. So you invest in you. Like any organization, we aim to operate within our budget to ensure all interests are represented equally. To raise funds, we ask you to purchase and display signs and shirts, stickers, and any future merchandise that catches your eye. Model community signs. These stickers are going to be out there. We dug deep and they're free, but we really would appreciate a donation. $5, $2, whatever you can. They're put on your sign that you already have, just placed in the area where it says no 60 feet, because now we're changing to pro. So now we're pro model community. So take 2 stickers, 1 for each side of the sign that you have. I think, Aaron, do we have any signs left for sale?
No, not right now.
Okay. So those of you who have them, please pick up a sticker. And those of you who have t-shirts, you can stick this sticker on your t-shirt if you want. Stick it wherever you want. Where it'll look good anyway.
The sticker.
I think that's going to come in the future. If we have to go and fight the no 60 feet again, yes.
What was the question?
Are we going to get any more signs?
Yeah, we will. What'll happen is if Marina LLC, and it'll probably be Marina that will submit the first site plans, because the last conversation they had with the city was, if we do that day, we get to go to 60 feet. If they do that, it'll be an alert to you. Then we need to you need to get those signs. If you've got the sign in the garage, please put it back in the front yard. The stickers are really for the balloon on the sign. That's to trigger your neighbors saying, hey, didn't it used to say no? So you can say, yeah, but we're going to a model community. This is the gist of it. But we're going to pull out the t-shirts, whatever we have left. Once those get sold, if we need to do another run, of course we'll do another run. Yeah.
Okay.
And signs as well. But at this point,
right. So the stickers are important because it shows a balance between green and gray. Green being everything that concerns the environment and most of the elements that are not addressed in any of the developments that are going on, and gray being the color that is addressed most of the time with the development that goes on. We want to show that we're not no, but that we are pro. Pro-development of a balanced model community or nothing at all. It should have every element here. The Marina Boulevard Station Area Planning Study, for any of you who went through it, you might have looked, as James said, at some of those pictures and thought, well, heck, I mean, this is really cool. Let's do this. It would be if the wording in it were coded wording, but it isn't. It is all of the maybe, recommended, preferred, alternative, so it's not a done deal. We want it to be codified. This is a new narrative for us. It's built upon the original, a narrative that can grow to encompass all the communities, as James said, all 52 communities in the city of San Diego and in the county of San Diego. And what community would be against a model balanced, fairly balanced development in their community? I don't think any, especially when each community is individual and unique, and the people who live in the community are the ones coming forward with their ideas. Our community would be different than Granville, which you know is coming up for a huge change. Mission Valley, which is going to be completely developed, is different from ours in Mission Bay. Juan Paseo is different. And a note on that, talking about 150-foot heights. When we raised the balloon down in Overlook Heights, we put a GoPro camera on top of that balloon and it went to 60 feet. And those of you who have gone to Raise the Balloon website, there's a video that shows that view on top of the balloon. 60 feet won't be enough in Overlook Heights. You cannot see the bay at 60 feet. any building there would go over 60 feet. It would be 100, 110, 150. So you're not fighting 60 feet, you're fighting something like one paseo. That's why that community-initiated amendment is so important, to keep Linda Vista with a 30-foot height limit. Lots of you have also related instances in your travels around the community and in San Diego about excessive, overwhelming, out-of-character development, loss of green space, loss of farming, agricultural land, and so forth. And with the great emphasis on population growth, transit, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, loss of natural habitat, failing infrastructure, and growing environmental concerns, this model community icon and idea could very well translate to all of San Diego County. And that's where we get the voice of the people. Not just us, but all of the communities in San Diego eventually. And we become we the people. This was still a democracy last time I checked. It's we the people. We vote, we say, they work for us. And somehow this has been totally flipped. And we don't feel that way anymore. We have to get that feeling back. We have to know that it exists. What turns you on about your community? What connects you? What are you interested in? That's the greatest gift that you can give to your community. That's the greatest donation you can make, is your time. What worries you the most? What are you going to lose that is going to just kill you? That's why we got involved. If we don't do our best, I'm not going to be able to die in peace. I can only try hard now and do my best for my family, for what I hope to give my son, for what you hope to give your grandchildren and their children. Why are you here? What makes a difference to you? My choices can't be your choices. Maybe they're similar, but what is it that will make you passionate about saving your community and giving of yourself? Talking to a friend, talking to a few of your neighbors and saying, let's have an informational meeting at our house. All we have to do is email Raise the Balloon and they're going to get someone to the house. Let's have a meeting. Hey, June, will you have a meeting at your place? Let's have it in your dining room. I love your dining room. Get together with your neighbors and decide how you're going to make your interest come to life. Maybe you have a rec room at your condo facility. Get together and ask if you can have some time. 1 hour. 8 people, an informal gathering. It doesn't have to be a big meeting. That's what we're here to do. That's where we want this to go now. Instead of large meetings where we hope a lot of people will come and maybe you filter away and nothing comes from it, we want you to leave now. Right now I'm throwing out a bunch of seeds on top of you. Take it back to your community, take it back to your block and ask, do you have any questions about what's going on? Are you worried at all about what's going to be developed on Marina Boulevard all the way down? Or what might creep up the hill now that this is going to be a Claremont Mesa community plan update? Do you want to get together? Let's talk to somebody. Give us a call. That's all you have to do, and we'll be there. We can review items with you. We can go through, understand the plan with you if that is a worrisome place, if it scares you. Whatever you want to do, we'll do with you in your groups. I think the community survey, we have close to 500 responses. We'll have these to give for you to take home and pass out to neighbors to get them, if you know they haven't taken the survey, for them to do it. We also have the Claremont Times back there with surveys already pulled out for anyone that you know who has no internet access, who doesn't have a computer, and Lord knows we know that's a lot in our community. Retirees, people who don't want a computer, want nothing to do with one. And those of us who have a computer and really don't use it, like maybe we could. That's why Claremont Times put the survey in the paper. So we have those available, and these for you to take home and pass out to those. We need you to now spring from us, because 5 people can't do it. We're trying, but we need you, because I'm you and you're me. There is no difference. I'm frightened up here, just like you might be talking. I'm a mom, I'm an ex-teacher, I have a disabled husband. I've lived here since 1957. I saw mudflats. I ran across 101 over the train tracks to play in the mud. Used to be here when the slaughterhouse was down at the end of Marina Boulevard. There was no Claremont Drive. There was only Milton Street that went up to Marston High, Junior High. It was a fabulous, wild place, just like Mission Valley was. And as we've seen Mission Valley get covered over, is it primarily green or is it primarily gray? It's gray. And we're going to lose the only green that's there when the golf course goes. So we've seen San Diego change greatly. And we can put, maybe not brakes on it, but we can get it balanced and we can have a say. But 5 voices of say isn't enough. Multiply each of you times 5 and the 5 people that you tell, and then we can do something about it. Any questions on housekeeping?
One thing that's not noted on these surveys is what's the deadline to submit them?
Well, we don't have a real deadline because we're going to be presenting results to the City Council. James, can you speak to a deadline on the survey? We're kind of wondering, is it 30 months? Is it 3 months? How long is it?
How long is it? The survey, we want, so far there's been about 500 respondents on the survey. What we'd like to do is get up into the range of maybe 33, 34,000. We want to keep it open until it hits Bay Ho completely, Bay Park completely, Overlook Heights, the whole area. Why? Well, that's the magic number right now that the folks at One Paseo need. So what happens is when people touch that survey, they begin to touch the issues. It also gives us their email addresses so that we can touch them back. So if we needed to get 35,000 signatures, now I don't want to get into a situation where One Paseo was, or is at this point. They have 2 petitions they need to have signed. And they need, Bob, it's 35,000, I believe?
34, 35,000.
Okay.
It's only one right now.
So it's only 1 petition at this point. But, so we've got a campaign that's just begun with the survey. That's why we're asking you to take these brochures, and if you find somebody who hasn't taken, encourage them to do so. That gives us, it also gives us the input for when we go to present the community-initiated amendments. So I can go to the City Council and say, this is what the community has said. Here's the numbers. But more than that, we're going to be holding their feet to the fire to balance out these plan elements. I think we're done accepting. We'd like to go over some survey responses. Tom will do that. Bob Freund is about to leave, so I wanted him to just speak 1 or 2 minutes on One Paseo. He's from What Price Main Street. Yes, we're encouraging you to sign it. They're our neighbors. The reason that we're opposed to it is that it doesn't, in no way does it balance out the plan elements. It's so unfair to that community, it stinks. It's just big money. So that's where we're at. But if you don't want to sign it for any reason, that's your prerogative, obviously. Bob?
Yes, absolutely. 2 things. Can you all hear me on the phone?
James, hold on just 1 second. When you fill out the survey, make sure that you validate, otherwise it doesn't go all the way through.
online, it comes back to you as an email. I know my wife took it, and that's what I pointed out to her, was that she took it and then she didn't realize she needed to validate another email that comes. So if you do the online, don't forget that there's a second phase that puts you in. Otherwise, you did that, took the time, and for nothing, if I understand it correctly.
No, that's registration, not this year.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what your wife is trying to, what he's talking about is when you register on the site to get emails from us, make sure that you receive another email that says, did you really want to be on the email list? This is for anti-spam law. So we're just trying to stay in compliance with the anti-spam law. Bob.
Okay, very quickly. 2 takeaways that I hope you all take away from here. One is you've got to be proactive, which is exactly what James is doing, and he and his small band really deserve a lot of credit from you guys and a lot of support going forward because you're going to need it. The second is there's a petition over there. It's for a referendum on One Paseo. I know that maybe only 1 or 2 of you know what the project is all about. That's not what the petition is about. The petition for a referendum is exactly what Ed was talking about earlier, which is we have a bunch of city council members, and I'm speaking very plainly to all of you here, who are more concerned with their political futures, their next office, than being responsive to you and me and the other districts and communities in San Diego. By signing that petition, you are telling them, wait a minute, we're holding you accountable for being responsive to us. That's what we elected you for. That comes first. So please, on your way out, sign those petitions so we can get a referendum and send a message to the city council members and the developers that you can't just go from community to community to community. We're going to band together, as James said, and we're going to tell you what we want and what we don't want. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Bob. I think what we might want to do is not have such a dry mouth. Maybe we can start having you go ahead and sign the petition while we read some of the responses of the survey, so we can get you out of here early. Sound good? Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thanks, James. First of all, how many people have filled out the survey? Raise your hand. Okay, very good. Again, the 2 reasons for the survey. This is your voice going to City Council. You know, James talked about all the research that's being done on, you know, what we want, and I think it's probably most important. Okay. And then it's also going to help us with the community practice. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spend a few minutes on some of the questions that were subjective. Okay, I'm just going to share some of the comments from your neighbors. Okay. One of the questions is, what was most lacking in the community? Okay. Safe. Hold on. The reason James had these large poster things so he wouldn't have to use glasses. I knew there was a reason for that. Safe bicycle access to Mission Bay Park, Claremont Drive with 4 lanes on the hill east of I-5 seemed to work pretty well for 50 years. Traffic movement in and out of Bay Park using the Claremont Drive exit with only 1 lane going up. There is always congestion trying to enter Claremont Drive from the neighborhood streets. The ability to have a meaningful input to the trolley plan. The station at Balboa will create a traffic mess. Moving it to the north side of Balboa would not only alleviate the problem, but would also allow the city to develop an area like the Marina Vista trolley station. Trader Joe's. Free to the public tennis courts. Now that Claremont High is locked up. Choice of grocery stores. We only have Keels, which is usually overpriced. Access to mass transit. Competitive grocery stores like Trader Joe's. Restaurants that will stay put desperately We want Chinese food back at Keels. We need more fun places to go shop, eat, hang out, and relax without having to get on the highway. The corner of Claremont and Marina is a real eyesore and depreciates the value of Bay Park, Claremont Mesa. I agree that some development is necessary, but not 60 feet high. The grocery stores need somewhere such as lawns, someplace that we can walk to. The area looks horrible. It should look like it should look as nice as Del Mar or Solana Beach. Good streets, too many potholes. Recent speed reductions have pushed me to shop in other areas, Midway and Mission Valley. A walking bridge to the Mission Bay Park right across the freeway. It would be increase property values significantly and provide access to an amazing existing open space. Resolution of the vacant land at the corner of Claremont Drive and Marine. I see that a lot. Connected between areas, pathways, gathering places, landscaping, the marked bicycle lanes, so on and so forth. So these are the things that you have asked that are lacking in the community. This is what we're going to try and work with. Okay, the next question. I'm only going to go over 3 of them, just so you know. Number 9. What do you consider to be the best feature of our community? Spectacular views, easy access to the freeway, with little to no traffic, small community feel. It seems to be making a comeback with higher-end renovations being built. I know that increases my property value. The best feature of Claremont is the single-family units where neighbors